welcome everybody to one of the seminars that we're providing to go alongside the AGM. As you all know, NACCC has been working with children and families for the last 30 years, and at that time we've gained a wealth of experience relating to supporting families through separation. In order to do this, it is important to have access to a wide range of information that we continually work with others. Additionally, in order to ensure that children across the world benefit from our learning, it is important to share our experiences with colleagues. NACCC has been working with colleagues across the world for some years now. We have relationships with colleagues in Ireland, Scotland, America, France, Belgium, Singapore, Taiwan, Australia, and Canada. It is my great honour to have the opportunity to work so closely with Kyoko Takada, who is an Associate Professor at the Faculty of Intellectual Property of Osaka Institute of Technology. So we've been, over the years, learning from her and her colleagues in Japan and sharing our experiences with them. In this seminar, Kyoko will tell us a little about child contact in Japan, how this works and what the key similarities or differences are. So without going on any further, I'm going to hand you over to Kyoko.
Okay, thank you. My name is Kyoko Takada. Today, I will talk about the Japanese status of child contact, especially focusing on how to support child contact. Okay. Firstly, I believe that child contact centers becomes a very important key institution for keeping children happy and safe. I will talk about current legal status of child contact. Then I will introduce child contact support service in Japan. Then I will report about the established National Association for Child Contact Support Japan. Finally, with deep gratitude, I will talk what I learned from UK's experience. The divorce rate is high in Japan. It's very similar to UK and other EU countries. But Japanese tend to avoid going to court. Around 90% of cases are outside of court. And so I'm deeply concerned whether families' children are keeping touch with their non-resident parents. Anyway, for that reason, only very, very high conflict cases are brought to court, but our law doesn't admit joint parental right or joint custody after divorce. So child contact usually becomes the bargaining chip. At the same time, we should understand that Japan is very, very behind the country regarding DV protection and women's rights. There is a very poor safeguarding system, and victims has only way to run away from perpetrator and need to leave everything and go to their town, which they don't know, and live in constant fear of perpetrator. So, especially for DV victims, child contact center is necessary for protecting them. Many child contact centers started to respond to the request from lawyers and other facilities for victims of DV. Many families who got court orders of child contact can't proceed a contact without other person's help. Now, in 10 years, about 50 centers started to provide child contact service, but almost all centers are very small and take few cases. And each center has own way to support and their status. So there's no standard, and everybody try to find a way. Probably, Japan's centers are characterized by variety in all aspects. I will introduce some of them. Oldest and biggest group is family problem Information Center called FPIC. Its body is consisted by ex-family court investigation officers and ex-family court mediator. Main member is ex-family court investigation officer. It's a kind of community service after their retirement. Main center of FPIC is Tokyo Center. I took Elizabeth there last November. Tokyo Center provides training program and teach how to proceed supporting service, supporting child contact to other areas center. Other areas center is very small, except Osaka Center, but now there are 12 regional centers, and totally they have more than 800 staff members. Oyako Child Contact Center is also consisted by ex-court-related people, as same as FPIC, but they gave up to start as FPIC. As far as I know, there are several similar groups in Japan because FPIC sometimes seems too bureaucratic, rigid, and lack of thinking about children's welfare. Oyako Child Center is an important central center in Hokkaido area. Child Station's vision is very clear. It's to support for children and women. The chief manager of the center, Ms. Okuno, says almost all cases include family violence problem, and she emphasizes that we need to teach and encourage children how to protect themselves, and children also can say no when they don't want to. Probably it's difficult to imagine for you that women and children can't say no if they want to say no. But in Japan is such kind of country. I can't introduce every unique centers, but several centers started from their experience as non-resident parents or resident parents. As I said, in these 10 years, about 50 centers started the service where only FPIC has long experience. To add it, they are located only in big town, mainly Tokyo and Kansai area. Kansai means Osaka. Still, there are many prefectures which don't have any center. FPIC is an important key group, but at the same time, there are many complaints and its limitations for its character. And almost all centers operated by staff members' funds and always face budget shortage. For budget problem, some centers can't provide a safe environment for families. Also, family can't find their center because for no reliable information. These are very big challenges for them, for us. So I try to call establishing the national center like NAC for supporting centers. Firstly, I asked to professions and groups for child welfare and DV victims, academic professions, and lawyers. And at last, we established a national association called ACS Japan in November 2019. ACSJ's main mission is providing the accreditation service for getting public liability, and providing support for child contact centers. Just this summer, the Governmental Committee for Revising Legislation asked us to cooperate for thinking about the legal and social support for child contacts. So I hope our system contribute to the society and child contact centers. Oh, sorry. We held the Memorial Symposium last year for calling attention of establishing ACCC. We invited Elizabeth as keynote speaker. Elizabeth, thank you for your wonderful speech. And now we are preparing the establishing the standards and the accreditation system. And also now we are asking the cooperation to EFIC. Okay, next. I'd like to talk about my UK visit and what I learned. I visited NAC many times. Thank you for receiving us. I learned history, how to develop the standards, and how to operate, improve the system in NAC. My profession is a law as a scholar, and I have researched the UK legal system for 20 years. I always had admiration for UK's challenges and solutions. It seems very rational, and you have a brave of change. And thanks to Elizabeth, I could visit several kinds of child contact centers in England. I visited Children First in Derby. And Karina, thank you for your warm welcome. I learned this house types of center is extremely good environment for contact and respect their long period of activities for children. Time Together Contact Center in Family Court is very good idea, providing safety early stage services. In Japan, Family Court sometimes sets the experimental contact supervised by Family Court investigation officer, but the court is a court, so it's not mainly place for children. So such contact center is very good, I think. And also at Grassroots Contact Center in Blackburn, I talked with a resident parent, mother, and non-resident parents, father. Of course, I know they're just part of many types of situations, families, but I again thought the importance to hear parties' voice. Now I have a project to promote the social research in Japan now. Also, at Blackburn, I knew the professionalized of contact service encourage people's career development. And I visit Nottingham Contact Center. From the website, I knew Nottingham Contact Center is a very fast contact center. And at Nottingham, I met a staff volunteer member who was very young and lesbian. I'm surprising because I knew the child contact support is already becomes a diverse voluntary place where everyone can join and help children and families. And also, I surprised at seeing Swan Family Center, which is totally commercialized. My presentation is very overview, but I hope this opportunity becomes a good international collaboration for encouraging creative people. Thank you.
I wonder if you could tell us a little of the backstory to the child contact in Japan. Is contact something that has been developing over several years, or is this a more recent change?
Yeah. Now, the child status of child contact now is changing. And in 2011, the court policies changed to strongly encourage child contact. And now, gradually, they rethink they need to analyze the family situation, especially there is no violence environment or not. And also, some local government notices that divorced family faces difficulty to promote child contact. So some local government now started to support child contact fee for families. Mm-hmm.
Good. And is contact something that's been developing over several years, or is it a more recent change?
Mm. Yes, after after 2011, a court tended to strongly encourage child contact. So many families face difficulties because court said child contact, but they couldn't promote child contact without other parties' support. So some groups started to support families.
Right. Okay. So if contact is something that is developing and has developed more recently, since 2011, it's not that recent really. But what do you think the driving force has been to create it?
Probably there's movement started from several approaches. One from the DV victims support organization, and the other is a parents group. A parents group means a non-resident parent group, and also the some local government which want to support families a lot. They encourage the families to set child maintenance and child contact. Mm-hmm. So there are several approaches there. So I can't say only one reason.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So would you think the government are thinking that it is very important for children to have contact with the other parent, and that long term the effect on the child would be a more positive one if it was arranged?
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. And there are several thinking, of course, negative aspect and positive aspect. Negative aspect from the families includes violence problems, but positive aspects from the in Japan historically, usually mother got the parental right, and children usually live with their mother, and father usually didn't try to see them continuously in past time. But recently, some professors and socialists found the importance to continuously keeping touch with their parents. So also the recent government is a conservative government, try to set the families value. And but actually, the divorce rate in Japan is very high. So keeping relationships is very important to set the family's value. So government also recently said the importance of continuous relationship, and joint custody.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so what would you say the main differences are between contact in the UK and Japan?
I think very big differences is safeguarding system. I think the safeguarding system in the UK improved a lot, and gradually the safety environment is provided by society. But in Japan, the system is keeping the same poor system. So I sometimes hesitate to encourage the child contact because some families faces the risk of violence.
Because you've worked with us for quite a while now, you've made several visits and visited lots of centres. I'm wondering if there is anything particularly interesting that you've learnt from visiting us that has made a difference to the families in Japan. So how have you taken it forward?
I think the family is not so different, I think, because probably the UK people rather traditionally compared with us, European countries, and also the Japanese society is also changing personalization, and so I think Japanese also can be more changeable person. We tend to hesitate to change something. And as far as I learned from UK's people, I think they try to change a lot. And also they try to be professionalized. It's very important matter, I think. But in Japan, I now ask people how to professionalize and how to change, but they always say it's difficult because we are general people, something like that. So particularly, I can learn a lot how to professionalize, how to change with brave. So now I'm called to Japanese people about that.
Mm-hmm. And I would also say that the difference to families in Japan is your creation of a national association to make it, to widen the information for solicitors, for judges, for families. So that I think has been a major difference that you've started something. So in the UK, we have a very mixed and diverse group of people delivering services, with staff and volunteers. Is the same true in Japan, and how does it work?
In Japan, especially for the Tohoku earthquake disaster, people tend to go voluntarily, but still limited. So it's really hard to find the people, staff members, to support families, and so only very related people join the child contact support now. Ex-parent or the court-related people. So I'd like to publish the importance of supporting families, especially divorced family, because Japan still now some people think divorce is the same thing, but actually 1/3 family face a divorce now. So we need to receive the fact, and we need to support family a lot, I think.
Okay. And this is the last question. You'll be glad to know. From your experience working with different people across the world, I wonder if you have any recommendations or reflections relating to practice in the UK and how this might be developed. What could we do better?
Especially for us, exchange opinion and the also exchange opinion is very important, and also this relationship is very important, and also I think as you know, Japan has a problem relating to child contact in, Hague Treaty. We hesitant to change and hesitant to accept, international standards. But probably through relationship with other countries, people, we easily receive the fact and try to change. So the relationships is very important, I think. And actually, my colleague in AXJ is really really interested in the UK system because I always, he talk about UK's experience. So I hope that UK style is very important and functional in Japan too.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for spending the time, Kyoko, to help us understand how things are happening in Japan. There's a lot to take in, and I'm sure it'll take people a little while to digest this. However, I think it is important that we keep learning from each other and exchanging views and opinions. As you say, that's how we improve practice. That's how we, learning from each other is one of the best ways to do it, as is some training. It's always an honor to work with you, and we hope that this is something that we will continue to do for a very long time. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.